going on here today?
These two men were arrested in the West Bank last month following a peaceful demonstration in their village against a road closure that has gone on for 12 years. Some international activists were arrested at the demonstration. They got 7 days of house arrest and the charges were dropped against them. Supposedly for rock throwing. There was no evidence of rock throwing. The charges were dropped. These two men, that night, their home was raided, the windows were broken out, the door was busted in, they were taken from their homes by the IOS. They have been detained ever since. They are facing today an arraignment in a military court in Israel because Palestinians have to go through the military court system rather than the civilian court system because they are Palestinian.
So I don't understand that because from my understanding, most of the politicians don't even recognize Palestine, yet there is a Palestine and there are Palestinians, and so I guess I have difficulty understanding that as an American. I don't get it.
We're standing here by a replica of the Statue of Liberty, First Avenue, Cedar Rapids. Why is our government giving $3 billion a year in military aid to a country that pulls this kind of stuff when this is what we're supposed to be about?
Liberty!
There should be liberty and justice for all. And if Israel can't abide by that, their government can't abide by that, their military can't abide by that, then they should be getting by without our taxes.
We're out here in front of the Linn County Courthouse.
What happened to your friend?
In their village, they live in a village in the West Bank, and the Israeli military 12 years ago closed off the main road to their village. It has tripled their travel time. So for the last 12 years, they've been staging peaceful, unarmed demonstrations.
Oh, in Israel? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And last month, an Iowa City native went to the West Bank with some other international peace activists. They demonstrated with them. They were accused of throwing rocks at soldiers, which there was no evidence whatsoever that they were doing that in Lawrence.
They do throw rocks over there. They must not be able to have firearms.
No, they don't.
That's why they throw rocks.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. I used to do that at Rabbit, when I was a kid, until I could get a gun.
And the thing is, there was what they had as evidence was one Israeli soldier hundreds of meters away looking through a pair of binoculars who said they threw a rock. You know.
Yeah.
Lauren and her group, the international activists, were placed on 7 days of house arrest in Tel Aviv, but they went through a civilian court and the charges were dropped because of lack of evidence. The two Palestinian men weren't even arrested at the demonstration. They were rounded up in the middle of the night, that night, out of their homes, detained. They are still being detained.
10 years. 10 years.
Yeah, they're facing 5 months if they confess to something that they didn't do.
But they've been there for 10 years. How long have they been?
They haven't been in prison since.
Oh.
This road to this village has been closed for that.
Oh, I gotcha.
So they've been demonstrating for this long.
Does Palestine get money from the United States?
They get very little.
They get very little.
And it's very, the only aid that the Palestinian Authority gets is humanitarian. That's it. Israel gets completely unconditional aid, and they get over $6 billion a year. And they use that to occupying Palestinian land.
A lot of conflict answers in there.
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's a real conflict.
Tough because everything you complain about, there's a reason for it.
When President Obama stands in front of the United Nations and says, America stands for human rights, and yet we're sending money to a country that's doing this. That's a conflict of it. I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Is it any wonder that they look at us, that they look at America and say, we can't trust a word they say?
But it isn't American. It's
we understand that.
Exactly.
You know, and all you
and you know, we talk. We're all on the internet, you know, and we talk with a lot of people in the West Bank and in Gaza, and they fully understand it's not the American people.
Yeah.
They love the American people.
They don't really know the American people. A lot of them. I know. That's why you get pissed at your government, right?
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So what we're asking people to do, if you would, is just make a phone call. Pick one of those phone numbers. Pick Senator Carpenter or Charles Grasham, and make a phone call today or tomorrow, and just say, you know, tell them that you heard this story about these two men, and that this is unacceptable, and you want them.
I got to drive to Michigan tomorrow night.
Do you know somebody who can?
You got to. I mean, I'll call on the way tomorrow. Is what I'll do.
Okay,
awesome.
That would be great.
All right. Well, good luck with you.
I'll tell you.
What do you think, David?
It's going well. It's nice that all the people that are arriving here at the courthouse are able to attend a civilian court. I think it would be hard for them to imagine if they had committed the small infractions that they have, them being sent to not a civilian court, but a military court, where they would be judged under much lower standards of justice, a much easier run for the prosecution, minimal evidence would have them convicted, and then when they were convicted, their sentences would be much harsher, and they would be sent to military prisons as opposed to into the civilian system. I think that we all take for granted the fact here that we're going to be tried in a court meant for civilians. And it's pretty difficult for these people who are coming up and down the sidewalk and attending the courthouse here for whatever reason today to imagine that it could be otherwise. But there are places in the world where it isn't like that. The Palestinians, when they are charged for a crime by the Israeli military and police in the areas in which they live, don't go to civilian courts. Places where the evidence against them would be dropped for lack of validity, they go to a military court where it's pretty much a rubber stamp on the fact that they're going to be found guilty and jailed for extremely long periods of time. So I think that, you know, this is an appropriate venue for this sort of an action in the sense that it draws the contrast between the way we as Americans expect to be treated if we're charged with a crime and the way that our tax dollars are spent supporting a government halfway around the world which has a completely different standard for justice for the powerless and the exploited people who are under their control.
So, do you think that what is happening over there is possibly similar to what could happen here with the NDAA?
Certainly, there's provisions within the NDAA for the indefinite detention of American citizens by the military without due process. You know, under the guise of keeping us all safer, they've got some really ambiguous language in there that's had a chilling effect on journalism and journalists who are even investigating or reporting on stories of groups that might not be friendly or considered friendly by the U.S. government. And so we now have a situation where they're able to put a serious chill on the free speech just simply by implying that anyone who, you know, is reporting in what they deem to be a favorable light any of these groups who they oppose could now be considered an associated force. So, you know, this is a foreshadowing of what might be here in the United States.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's going on in the building behind this one right now in the Linn County Jail, or the Linn County Correctional Center, even as we speak. There's people back there who are innocent or certainly deserving of their due process, but they're even now on the phone to their attorney talking about, let's take a plea deal, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
So we kind of got that going on here as well.